Welcome to Family Gamer TV. I'm with the Sesame Street Kinect team, looking at Season 2. So maybe if you guys could introduce yourselves and we'll find out how the game came together.
So I'm Rob Stevens, I'm the design lead for Kinect Sesame Street TV.
My name is Carla Prada and I was the senior animator on the project, and I'm also the feature lead of Cooper.
I'm Tim Ackroyd and I was the senior video editor.
Hi, my name is Aimee and I led up user research for Kinect Sesame Street TV.
Hi, I'm Jez Fry. I'm Associate Art Director on Kinect Sesame Street TV.
So, how did the idea for Sesame Street first start?
Yeah, I mean, Sesame Street Kinect TV came about. It's funny, we as a studio had a lot of experience doing video, and as Microsoft decided they wanted to get more into the family arena, they started a partnership with Sesame, and suddenly relationships started kicking off. We had started having some conversations with the creative team, and then from there, you know, the baby that was born was Kinect Sesame Street TV, and it's an interactive television show for children. It was amazing. So it was just basically a genesis out of wanting to get more into the family arena.
So the idea of using Sesame Street came along with the technology, or was the sort of the tech there first and then you found a partner?
I think it just made a lot of sense. I think Sesame as a show asks a lot of questions. It kind of implies a lot of interactivity of the kid. And Kinect just allows that to be realised, essentially. It just kind of works. You don't have to teach the kid buttons, you don't have to teach them, you don't have to calibrate them. You just tell them to speak, or you tell them to dance, you tell them to jump, and it just kind of works.
And was there a key demographic you were aiming at in terms of ages? Was there a lower limit, or how did that work?
Well, Sesame Street primarily goes after the ages of 3 to 5. And so when we were doing research with children, we actually aimed about from the 3 to 4 range. We made the assumption that if a 3 or 4-year-old understood how to do it, a 5-year-old would also find it quite fun. But what we discovered, we went out to homes of families, that kids of all ages quite liked it. The older siblings would show the younger siblings how to do it, and so it kind of became more of a family affair, even though we originally just started with the kids.
And as I understand it, Sesame Street itself is sort of programmed to engage adults, parents, as well as children. Was that something you continued in the game?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like they call it scaffolding when a parent sits with a child and actually helps them learn something. So what we discovered is that oftentimes when parents have entertainment for children, they just don't allow the child to watch in isolation. They normally sit as a family and do it together. And so we tried to create experiences that would encourage parents to get involved with their children. And so you can also see in one of the instances where you find hidden objects, that's actually even more popular with adults than it might even be with kids. They quite get into it, so it's quite cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that we've really learned from Season 1 going into Season 2 is that it really is a group activity. It really is something that parents enjoy playing along with the kids, or older siblings will enjoy joining in with the kids, the younger kids who are watching. And we've kind of played on that. We've made sure that every single part of Season 2 is multiplayer in some way. There's a lot more of the kid on the screen, so you get all of anyone who's on the sofa, anyone who's in front of the TV, they're all brought into the show along the way. And segments like Elmo's World in particular, we've got specific multiplayer support, so you can stand up and you can both become a constellation, or you can both ride a roller coaster together, or when Elmo counts, he'll count every other one of you, so he'll count then you, then me, then you, then me, then you, then me. So we really have tried to make it a proper family experience for Season 2.
And so the Kinect camera sees both the parent and the child and knows they're both there, and so they're both interacting with the game at the same time?
Yes, absolutely. Although it's an interactive TV show, not a game.
Okay, yes. And in terms of the Kinect sensor detecting smaller children, have you found that there's a lower limit in terms of how big a child needs to be for them to be able to be detected?
I think we've had as young as 18 months in our user research.
That's really small.
Yeah, so that's pretty small, and Kinect did a pretty good job of picking them up. To be honest, it's people like Tim and I that it probably has more problems with, because we're looking for 3-year-olds, we're looking for 5-year-olds, we're not looking for 6-foot-something guys.
Yeah.
We spent some considerable time actually bringing children in and trying to get them to gesture correctly, and then also calibrate some of the technology to work with the smaller skeleton. So when Kinect first came out, it really was adapted to people like you and me, taller people. So when we first started out, we did have to spend some time investing to make sure that smaller children were recognized. And also, if you think about where Kinect is normally placed above, looking down, that tends to shorten the skeleton even further. So we had to do some investigation in trying to rectify that so that the kids could always get recognized. Like even Rob said, it probably is even better at recognizing children than adults.
So Jez, you're responsible for animation and the art style of the game. Was that difficult to sort of get that Sesame Street look and feel?
It was deceptively difficult, actually. I mean, it looks like sort of kiddie drawings, scribbles and that sort of stuff, but it took us a while to get a real handle on the style. I mean, we really had to sort of unlearn what we'd learned about making polished drawings and all of that stuff, and just basically learn how to scribble like a child again, which was really fun.
So how did that unlearning happen?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of studying involved. We basically had to, read and reread the Sesame Style Guide, make sure that our line quality was basically similar to theirs. For example, we couldn't do perfect straight lines. We couldn't do beautiful curves. We had to sort of intentionally make sure that curves were slightly off, that lines were a little bit bent and wiggly, and yet keep them appealing and fun. So we couldn't have really ugly scribbles. So it took a while to get the balance right, but hopefully we got there in the end.
And do you think that it's worth the effort there for the user experience? How does that translate?
It's definitely worth the effort because kids respond to visual stuff. They're looking for appeal on the screen. They want to relate to what they see on the screen. If what they see doesn't look like Elmo, or if it doesn't look like a nice fish or whatever it is, if it doesn't look friendly, they're not going to react to it. So, I mean, I think it's of paramount importance to make appealing artwork.
And Carla, so you were responsible for animation, so that I guess is slightly different to art style. How did you get the Sesame Street sort of look for how things moved?
Well, actually, Cooper is motion captured, so he's actually puppeteered by a puppeteer from Sesame Street. So he provided a lot of the characteristic movements that you associate with the puppets on Sesame Street, and all of that was shot in New York. At a session in New York, and then all of the data was brought back here, and we had a team of 5 animators working to just put animations together. And as Rob mentioned, in season 2 we wanted to make Cooper more of a play partner for the child, so he had to interact with a lot more props and just be more engaging. So that was a lot of work, because there was like the motion captured side to it, and there's also the hand animated side to it.
I mean, do they use motion capture in the TV show itself, or is that something that's new for the Kinect experience?
I think it's new for the Kinect experience, because we wanted Cooper to resemble a Sesame Street puppet as much as possible, and really the best way to do that was to motion capture the puppet, especially with the amount of time that we had.
And so the Cooper character, is that an existing character from Sesame Street, or is that someone who's created new for the Kinect game?
Oh, he was created new. He was created here. And it was quite a big deal for Sesame Street to greenlight a new puppet. That's not something that they'll just do like that, So it's quite an achievement for the studio to actually have created a Sesame Street puppet. And they actually have, like, there was a real puppet that was motion captured, but there's also a real puppet with all the fur and everything, and it's great.
I think Carla's got a really good point there, that movement is so important to what makes a Muppet. I think if we had hand animated Cooper, then we would have had a much harder battle making him really feel like part of the show, making him really feel like a Muppet. And I think the mocap was really important to that, the motion capture. Which is why we invested so much time and so much effort making sure that we had motion captured the world's first Muppet to really bring him alive and make him feel like he was part of Sesame Street.
That sounds really good. So, do you guys have a favourite moment or a favourite episode in season 2?
I really like Grover Canova, and like going back to what you're saying about being aimed for like adults as well as kids, like the style of like the edit for that obviously was kind of based on things like Evel Knievel, who like the little kids, they wouldn't even know who that is, but
we do, we remember.
And like the adults like now, maybe watched Sesame when they were kids themselves, and so like aiming things for them like action sports style, like we put a lot of effort into having like the camera go out of focus, even though it's a digital camera and things like that, to kind of give it a real action sports feel, even though you know it's just for the feel of the show itself.
That sounds great. I want to go and play that one now. So, any other favourite episodes?
So we have what we call Elmo duets, which is kind of a key part of season 2, and that's essentially, it's an interactive music video in that you get to sing a duet with Elmo. So he'll do a call and response singing. So he'll do Wheels on the Bus. So he'll say Wheels on the Bus go, and wait for you, and you have to go round and round. And that's amazing. We've done 3 of those. We have Wheels on the Bus, Old MacDonald, and Happy and You Know It. And they're just so much fun. It brings you into the video. So you appear in the video alongside Elmo, inside a hut, or sat in the bus beside him, and you just get to sing along, and that's huge fun, and the kids just love it. It's just amazing.
That sounds great. Just finishing off, one thing I noticed that you're quite clear about is that it's not a game, although I've probably called it a game a few times. So what is the distinction between it being a show or TV show and a game? How do you draw that line?
Right, I think that's a really interesting point, and it's something that a lot of us have a games background here anyway, so we've been quite keen on making sure that we don't go down the games route. And I think games have an associated set of rules and reward systems, and really they require you to interact, which we've made sure that we don't do throughout the show. So it's a TV show. You can just sit and you can watch it from your sofa.
Oh, so it carries on whether you actually are successful or not.
Absolutely. So if Elmo's asking you to sing Wheels on the Bus go round and round and you don't sing, then after a few seconds, then another character will come in and join in, and then it'll just continue. But at any point, you can still jump up and join in, and it'll become interactive again.
So do you guys have kids yourselves? Has that played a part in the excitement of making the game, the TV show?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a boy. He's 9 months old, which isn't quite in our demographic yet.
Lower end, yeah.
Yeah, very much lower end. The Kinect doesn't do terribly well with him. He's a little bit too small, especially being carried. But he loves it. I mean, he loves Cookie Monster. I mean, the way that kids react to Muppets, it just seems instinctive. It's quite incredible to watch. He seems to love Cookie Monster the most, and he likes being thrown around and jumping quite a lot. So we have a segment called Letter Tree, where Cookie Monster has to jump in order to shake things down from the letter tree, which grows things that begin with a certain letter each day. So that he can get snacks. So he's looking for kumquat on letter K day, for example. And my boy loves that. He just laughs like a drain all the way through it. It's amazing.
And it gives you an excuse to play it yourself as well.
And yeah, absolutely. Like I need one.
Yeah, so I've got a 5-month-old boy. Obviously, he's too young to play, but you know, getting to that point where I'm having my own kids, it makes me think that, you know, I want to do something that's actually good for kids. You know, I'm coming from a games background. It's not necessarily the best material that you want your child to be playing, so it's been really good to work on something that's actually beneficial. You know,
it sounds like lots of you guys had babies while you were working on the project.
There's something in the water around here. It seems like everyone in the studio is having kids these days.
That's what we've got time for this week on Family Gamer TV, but we'll be back with more soon.